Right, here we are. I'm going to show you how to do all the pointing, all the cementing along where the barge boards are at the end of the house. I've knocked all the previous stuff out. On this side it wasn't too bad, but otherwise it's going to look like a patchwork quilt, so I thought I'd redo it all. Nice strong mix. As you can see, these tiles, what happened was when I hit it with the plug-in chisel, it sort of broke bits off, and then you lift the tile up and you take the old mortar out and then you slide the tile out like that. As you can see, I've put new little nails in there like that, little hilty pins, just so when I do fill this in, it's got something to stop the tiles sliding. Here's all the buckets of stuff, all the mortar. This is what I used. One of them, like a plug-in chisel. And put that on, like on there, that'll be on the side. Get the hammer and break it away. But as I said, what I done was lifted the tile up, and then that enables you to pull big lumps of the mortar out. The mix I'm doing is a 3-in-1, which means I filled up 2 bucketfuls of this, so it's all gauged nice, so the mix won't look odd. Right, so I know exactly what I've used. So I fill this with 2 sharp, right level fill, then 1 of building sand, then 1 of cement. Then I'm adding my mix, some of this stuff, liquid waterproofer. So I just put perhaps 2 or 3 cap loads in there, mix it with water, and with that whole mix I'll mix it in, and all that does, it allows the mortar to be a bit more protected by the weather. All I've got to do is mix it. I had it in a wheelbarrow, put it in one of these mixing trays, keeps it all nice and neat, and then you just sort of keep turning it over. That's all. I'll try and show you. Just keep going round and round and round, turning it over till it's all of the same consistency. Yeah, and all you've got to do is just keep going round and then break it up like that and keep digging it over to the same consistency. But I'm not going to add any water to that yet. I'm going to mix it up just in a bucket, a small bucket. If you want some of that waterproofer, just put a little bit of that in, and then it's easier if you've got one of these bucket trowels. They're really good for mixing. Keep adding with a watering can, little bits of water at the time, so you don't want to flood it and it's too runny. And just keep mixing it around. That's what I mean. These bucket trays are really good. Let's see. Get right around the bucket. That's all I keep doing. Like that. There you want it. That sort of texture, like that. So it's got a bit of body to it. See? Stand up, not too wet, not too dry. See, I'm painting in there. If you see me 5-in-1 mix PVA glue mix with water, I'm just painting it all on the tops of the tiles and there, just to give it a good bit of adhesion. I broke up some of the bits of old mortar with a hammer and just lightly wet them down. Right, because I'm going to use them to fill the void, so I don't have to use so much more of my new mortar. Otherwise you're going to use loads of mortar. Yeah. Looking off the ladder here, you see I've strapped the 2 buckets with rope around the rungs. Look, there's my old mortar there. And that's what I've done, filled it in the void. And obviously if you don't, you just keep feeding the muck in, it'll just keep dropping in to the cavity bit, and you don't want that, so that's the idea of it anyway. And also what I've got is that, it's an old container with water in, and if it looks a bit dry in there, you can give it a little nip of that, because it's very hot today. Yeah, like that, keep it a bit moist. See, it's easier with the scaffold. I've got my hawk, put some mix on there, and all I've got is a pointing trowel to get it in there first. So I'm just gonna It's a bit awkward doing this, but just feed it in. Right. Like that, on the back end of it, the trowel. Just keep feeding the mortar in. That's all you've got to do for now. Keep feeding it in till you fill it up. But I'm starting at the bottom. As you can see, I've put mesh in. I don't want it all dropping out there. I've started at the bottom, and then that'll eventually hold it. Then you can work your way up, you see. Another little tip, as you're feeding the stuff in, hold your hook like that underneath, and anything dropping, you're not going to waste any. See how it's all going in there, so you just got to keep packing it in. Another little tip, I feed it in like this, get the trowel like that, cut bits off like that, and then feed it in. I'll see if I can show you. Like so, you see that? Makes it easier. Right, basically I've left it a little bit too late. I'm just showing you there what I've done. If you play with it too much with the trowel, you'll find it starts to sag. So you've got to let it go off for like an hour or so. It's out here, I'm out here in the dark now. Anyway, what I've got is that. You can use a wooden float, or one of them. You just go over like that, and it don't. If you use a trowel, it brings the damp to the surface, whereas this won't so much. If I go like that over it, leave it for, I know it's late, leave it for half an hour or so, something like that. Then you've got like what this is, a gauging trowel, and then you smooth it like that over it, all the way along like that.